We're good. All right, good morning. And Commissioner Ivy, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome this morning to our Board of County Commissioners meeting. As always, we start with a prayer, reading, or thought, and the Pledge of Allegiance, and we look to the audience for. Oh yes, well, sorry. We have another meeting first before the Board of Commission meeting. It's the Board of Directors for the Utah Municipal Building Authority. Right, Dave? Now I'm on track. Okay. On this agenda, we have one item, and that's to approve and authorize the execution of Form 8038 CP, which is basically just it's a return for credit payments to issuance of qualified bonds. Is there any comment to that generally?
I move that we approve agenda item number 1.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve agenda item number 1. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. All right, let's adjourn that meeting. Oh, wait, is there any public comment generally on that? I took comment on the issue, but is there any general public comment? Okay, seeing none? Yeah, let's.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I got a motion and a second to adjourn that meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned from that meeting. We'll wait 1 second as they switch the audio. Okay, now we are in the Board of County Commissioners meeting, and as always, again, we start with a prayer, reading, or a thought, or the Pledge of Allegiance. So we look to the audience for any participation who would like to participate with us. Are there any that would be willing to say a prayer, reading, or thought in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge? Okay. Anyone with a prayer? Seeing none? Oh, you will? Okay. Come on up. Come on up and state your name, though, so we can have it for the record.
Our kind Father, we're so grateful that we could be here to help manage and monitor the actions of Utah County. We ask that we will be guided and directed in kindness, responsibility, and authority. We say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Thank you for participating with us on that. We have a number of items on our published consent and regular agenda, and we will move all items, both published consent and regular agenda, to a consent agenda to either be approved or ratified or adopted, and then we'll pull them off for discussion, those items that we need to talk about. And if anybody in the audience would like to come up and speak to those items as we pull them off, you can. So with that, on the published consent agenda, it's been asked that we continue items number 1 and 2 till our next meeting. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that
Yeah, that's great.
21 was that. I saw some comments that suggested that might not be quite ready.
Yes, there was. They did upload that agreement
Saw that
after, so If we need more time, we can. But
I don't need more time. The comment, I thought the comment
Comment
was
was,
saying
yeah.
that it needed more time. If it doesn't, then I'll just want to hold it for discussion.
Okay, so we can hold 21. And
There's a number, this is gonna sound like a long list. I really just kind of want some general comments. We'll speak to all of these, but all of the interlocal agreements.
Yes.
7, 8, 9, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 20.
okay,
Um,
yeah, we can hold them. We'll just hold them as a block. Yeah, as a block. There's a few comments that I think we'd like to have with Richard. If we could also hold number 22. Any others that are on our consent?
I didn't have any.
Okay. Moving to regular, if we can hold, if we could table number 1. There was a request to table number 1.
okay.
If we could hold number 5, well, maybe we can clear this up really quick. Sir, were you here for number 1? Oh, he's, okay, never mind. I just didn't want him to leave. He was here for number 1. Dave, on number 5, do we normally have a resolution for fee schedule changes?
Yeah, we usually modify our fee schedule by resolution.
Should we continue this one then?
Yeah,
Till the
we're gonna
next
list some
time.
urgency involved.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
Richard Nance, Department of Drug and Alcohol Prevention and Treatment. This isn't the fee schedule, so this is not the fees for services that we provide. This is a sliding fee scale. So it's the discount fee scale that we apply to the existing fee schedule. So there's a difference between the two.
Okay.
And Mr. Shawcroft's right, the urgency that goes along with this is a requirement from the National Health Service Corps Student Loan Reimbursement Program that we've applied for our staff to, it's kind of a staff recruitment and retention thing. So we have to have an updated sliding fee scale, and we do this periodically when
And I have no problems with that. I'm just trying to procedurally, if we need to adopt it through a resolution. That's my only question.
Ben Van Noy filling in for Anthony Lubay. We could put together a standard resolution form if the commissioners would approve that today. I think that would be procedurally okay. We'd be fine with that. That way it would get approved and we could proceed. Again, it would just be a standard resolution form authorizing this sliding fee schedule as it's been proposed.
Why don't we just approve what's on the agenda today, and then we could stick that on in resolution form later if we'd like, if we determine we need to. But it is not a part of our fee schedule itself, so I think we're fine just adopting what we have on the agenda today.
Okay. So we can just leave it on the consent agenda?
Yeah.
I'd
All right,
like to hold, are we on the regular agenda?
regular agenda.
I'd like to hold 6 and 7.
6 and 7? 6 and 7, okay. And if we could hold 8. Number 11 for some questions. See if. And number 13. Well, we'll do 13.
Okay, that covers the ones I had questions on, so that's good.
We're good? Okay. All right, we'll go back then to the general ones for these interlocal agreements that we have been working on to put into place, and Richard's been
There's one of
working on a
them.
whole bunch of them.
And I told Cody, you know, we only have 7 of these, so I'd only go through them page by
Yeah.
page, so we shouldn't be here more than a few hours. Anyway, questions you have for me, and then I can try, oh, sorry, Richard Nelson, Public Works, sorry.
Um,
It might make sense, because you might have more detail. I just had a general question. Because I haven't really, I appreciate the work that's been going on kind of in the background. I know that we didn't really have funding. I haven't really had an opportunity to be briefed on much of this. So can you just give me a general sense for
Sure.
what these agreements are doing and where it all stands
When we had
today?
the fires that happened last September in the south end of the county, there was a fair amount of area that was disturbed. It was about 135,000 acres. After the fire, there is a program through the Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS, called the Emergency Watershed Program, that provides an opportunity for funding to do some of the after-fire mitigation work. So this is like debris basins, silt fences, different measures to try to help with the debris flows that will come after the fire. NRCS requested that the county act as sponsor on that, rather than have one application, rather than have 7 or 8 different applications from all of the different entities. So we as the county in, I think it was October, November, applied to NRCS as the sponsor for about $24 million worth of work. These interlocal agreements then bring the cities in to pay their individual 25% match for the work that's being done in their entities. So the county's not on the hook for the whole 25% match. So that's where the interlocal agreements come into play. There's one agreement that is with Strawberry Water Users Association. It's the same thing. It's just not an interlocal because they're not a governmental entity. But they are affected with their canals both in Spanish Fork Canyon and some work in Payson Canyon. So that's why you have the agreement with Strawberry Water Users as well. So that's kind of the big picture of it. If there's other specific questions, I'd be happy to try to answer those, or even be happy to sit down with you, Commissioner Haynes, and go through it in a lot more detail than you probably want here. So.
No, that's helpful. And the funding through NRCS, is that one and the same? So recently the state appropriated some funds.
Correct.
And so now I can't recall, or I haven't seen the details of whether those funds are coming directly to the county or if some of them are going to the local municipalities. It's a mix.
It's a mix.
It's a mix, and what that would cover as part of the 25% match. The application has been made to NRCS. That funding has not been secured yet. It's been applied for, but it's not been secured yet. At the point in time that they say, yep, you've got the funding, it starts a clock of 220 days to have the work designed and built. So that's why we're trying to do the interlocals now, so we have those in place before that 220-day window starts. So that's kind of where we're at.
Do these agreements contemplate, do they work in the scenario where the municipalities are getting the money directly?
Yes.
Okay, because this isn't the county is going to reimburse. It's just saying that they're on the hook. Whether they get the funds directly from the state and they pay for it directly.
And even with the NRCS funds, that's a reimbursable fund from NRCS. So as the work gets done, we apply to NRCS and get the money reimbursed back to us. The way the agreements are set up is that the cities, they're responsible to have the work done in their own cities, and then they would give that to us. We would then apply to NRCS for that reimbursement. Once we get it back, we reimburse the cities with that NRCS money when it comes into us.
So it's really just appointing us as the conduit and the contact with NRCS.
We're basically the fiscal agent.
Regardless of where the match money is coming from, we are the ones that apply for the NRCS reimbursement and then allocate those funds.
Correct.
Yes, and this is a pretty important step to make sure and get these all in place, because there's percentages that are attached to them. For instance, Utah County's, percentage on here is about 41%
Of the total project.
of the total projects, and all the cities have, a certain percentage. So getting these interlocal agreements are important, because if we're just gonna pay, then the percentages would make us, well, it would still make a difference, because it's gonna cost so much to get this work from NRCS done and pull that federal money down.
Yep.
And having this in place
Please
now
enjoy
that
this
we're having,
Verizon ringback
now that
tone
we-
while your
now that
party
we
is
got
reached.
some state money to offset that, these percentages also stay intact for the total
I'm
dollar
back.
amount as we work down through it. So it's critical that we have these, and the cities have been signing off and adopting them as well.
And maybe just as another point of interest, that's indirectly related to these. We do have an RFP out on the street right now for design services for all of the work that these interlocals contemplate. They are due the end of this week. We're anticipating having a recommendation to bring to this body at your meeting in 2 weeks, so we can have that. We won't actually sign the contract until we have the NRCS approval, but we'll have the consultant ready to go and all the documents ready. So
Yeah.
What happens if one of the cities says they don't want to sign the agreement?
right now we've got
Have 'em all.
we've got them all.
Got them all
All
signed?
They are all signed.
All are
Passed.
signed,
I
that's why
don't, I
they're on
don't
here
have
for
the,
us to
I don't have the
countersign.
signed copy from Woodland Hills, but I've been told that they have approved it in their council meeting. But other than that, I have the signed copies from all the others, so.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, this is, so, along with what we have on our agenda then, I just wanted to make sure and note, there is exhibits A and B, and some of the exhibits A and B are not attached, specifically.
They didn't get uploaded.
They didn't quite get uploaded. I want to make sure in this meeting and just state that A and B attachments, as noted, with all, they're on every single one
Yes,
of the
the
agreements.
Exhibit A is the damage survey reports that were prepared by NRCS that identify what all the work would be. Exhibit B is the spreadsheet that shows the costs of those and the percentage that you mentioned to each individual entity, so.
Yeah, so that'll be attached with it. And then also, it has the Strawberry Water Users Association, being signed off by the mayor of Spanish Fork, and
And
that's
that was just
a
mayor
mistake. I
only.
just want to make sure that it's,
Yeah, the copy
The-
that we've got is
the
actually
copy
signed
is-
by their general
yeah.
manager, so.
okay.
Okay, so in that case, I would move that we approve all of the interlocal agreements in items 7, 8, 9.
And the
Commissioner,
strawberry, and the
but
strawberry users as well.
Eight is a different one. Eight is one
Oh.
with Provo City, so it's not part of it.
7, 9, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 20 with the noted corrections from the chair.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second, to approve all those interlocal agreements or agreements with, Strawberry Water Users. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes, 3-0. Thank you.
And did you put 8 on consent or not with the, that's
Oh,
the one with Provo City?
It was on the, but that was one that I asked to come off. Same thing, can you kind of give an
Sure.
overview of the
Provo City applied through the Mountain Lion Association of Governments for some money to do a study for a vehicular overpass along 200 West over the railroad tracks right near the Front Runner Station. This went through the MAG process for approval. Basically goes to the technical committee, comes to regional planning. The final step in that approval is coming to the county commission for approval.
So this is third quarter percent?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure which pot it's
But it
coming
was
out of.
approved by MAC?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Okay. That's helpful. I don't have any additional questions.
Did we pull that one off?
We did.
Consent agenda?
Yeah,
eight?
I
Okay.
lumped it in with the numbers.
Okay. All right. Motion be in order then.
I move that we approve consent item number 8.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adopt the resolution in consent agenda item number 8. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. We will move to published consent agenda number 21. This one's for, this is for the Asset Works implementation.
Yes. So at the end of last year, the commission approved the purchase of a software program for Public Works for fleet maintenance, for road maintenance. Eventually, we'll move into buildings and parks and things like that. This is the implementation, so we can have the fleet and the road portions of that brought up to where we can use them. It's bringing all of the information that's currently in our current systems into the new system and having it all operational. So
And that one's already been purchased.
the software's been purchased, and this money is in our budget for the implementation. So
Okay. I of course remember this one. I was not in favor of
Sure.
going that process. Wanted to go with an RFP, but nevertheless, the commission did approve it, and it has been purchased, and it would be really weird to have a purchased software system without an
We can't implement
implementation.
it.
Right?
Yep.
But I just want it noted that,
Sure.
I would have preferred we went through an RFP on it. Any other questions on 21?
I don't,
Nope.
nope.
Okay, a motion to be in order.
Move we approve consent agenda item number 21.
Second?
I got a motion and a second to approve agenda item number 21. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. Okay, on number 22, it's to approve and authorize the commission chair to sign a grant agreement amendment to extend the ending date. Is this one gonna require a budget transfer? That was one of the questions I had. in that.
No, this is just to extend the completion date. This is monies that was already allocated through the state for some of the fragmity work out along Utah Lake. This just extends the date out to June 30th to utilize those funds.
Okay. Sorry, I get back to my,
Does that stretch out the initial funding?
It doesn't, it just gives us longer to actually utilize that existing funding. It doesn't give us any additional dollars.
Oh.
It just gives us more time to actually get the work done.
Yeah, I remember this from last time. I don't have any additional questions.
Nor do I.
so here's the other questions that I wanna make sure that they're answered. From the attorney's office, what county contract is being modified? Have we satisfied that question?
So, could you repeat that?
Says-
Which contract is
Yeah,
being
it says what
modified?
county contract is being modified?
It
Can
would
it be included in the amendment? Because I can't do a legal review unless I can look at everything as a whole.
2018-158.
I just want to make sure has that been?
Oh, yes, we're good. Sorry, I didn't
Okay.
realize that comment was there. I think that was, is that from Anthony?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay. Okay. Motion be in order.
Move that we approve consent item number 22.
Second.
We had a motion and a second to approve consent agenda item number 22. All in favor say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. All right, we tabled number 1. Number 6.
Yeah, on number 6, I wanted to hold this just because I've identified some areas where we could potentially be more efficient in our Utah State Extension operations, and some areas of potential duplication with other departments. And so I do not support signing this all the way through the end of the year at the moment. And so I think that there's a couple of directions that we could go. We could continue it, or, we're already a quarter into the year. I think that we could do this through June 30th for this initial kind of funding as is, this agreement. And I've already spoken with the department head on this, and I think that would be the approach that they would prefer. And then we could spend the next few months identifying some of those areas or potential changes before locking ourselves into for the full year.
And I'd be happy to go to June 30th, as that makes the most sense. It keeps everything operational while giving us the time to work through and implement your recommendations.
So are you talking about for both of them, for
Both
6
of
and 7?
Yeah.
And then where would we have those conversations? Would it be administratively talking about this?
I think
with the
so.
department
There would
head?
be some administrative meetings and a further discussion with the department head. And, I think that it's so preliminary. I mean, quite honestly, I wasn't aware that our contract really wasn't in place for this year. And so I thought this conversation might be delayed until next budget cycle. But given that we have not solidified even this year, I think this creates an opportunity to have those conversations now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. And just for the record, every agreement that we sign, there's a provision that says at the time that the agreement is renewed, USU and the county may review specific program objectives for extension services in the future and evaluate past accomplishments. So this is right in line with what's contemplated. So whatever the commission would like to do would be fine.
Okay, that seems to be in order.
So I move that we approve 6 and 7 with a change that the duration of the agreement ends on June 30th, 2019, in both.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve both 6 and 7 with the notation that the term will end on June 30th of the agreements. Okay, all in favor of that, say aye.
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 That-
Just for clarification, does that change the dollar amount also of the operating budget? Will that need to be adjusted prorated so that it's based on the shorter term?
Yeah, it might actually. The dollar amount anticipated is for the entire year.
Yeah,
So this would be half of
have
the
to
year.
adjust it.
If it's, you would think that the duration, that somehow the language would tie to the duration, but if it's not,
Doesn't
then we do
specifically.
need to specify that that should be the pro rata amount.
Yeah, I think with that clarification.
Thank you for that.
Okay, well, so with that clarification, it passes 3-0. All right, number 8. I think, Dave, you had a few
Yes, just
comments.
the clarification on the form of the agreement. Just for clarification, the borrower will be Utah County. The end date for the term would be May 1st of 2021. That year was blank on the document that was uploaded. And in paragraph, in the terms and conditions under insurance, the county will be liable for any damage as stated in the document that was uploaded, but there was some language that was deleted, providing which said that the county would be liable while it's in transit. So that language will need to be added back in. So the words "in transit" or would be added back in into the insurance paragraph. Those are just the clarifications that need to be made.
Okay. Any questions to that? Seeing none, a motion to be in order.
Sorry, did you say that this expires in 2021?
Correct.
Is that our anticipation, and is there no automatic renewal? Because I figured that this would be, it's been a while since these have been updated, and so I thought, we'd probably think they'd stay intact for a little bit longer than that.
We actually convinced them to extend it to 2 years. They had just a 1-year term.
Okay.
Apparently their practice is normally to do it with a 1-year term, but on occasion they will do a 2-year term. So they've agreed to do the 2-year, and then at the end of that term, then there would be a renewal. So that's the way they want it done.
But that artwork stayed up there forever.
Right.
I
I'm
know.
just curious, in our discussions with them, is it just a legal thing that they want to have their process
I think
renewed?
That's my understanding.
Or are they actually expecting the return of the items?
My understanding is their expectation is that it would not be returned, but it would be renewed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I move that where are we at on this? 8.
Eight.
Move that we approve item number 8 with the noted clarifications or changes from the attorneys.
Second.
And a motion and a second to approve and authorize the execution as stated, number 8. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. Okay, number 11. Thank you, Yvette. We've had multiple conversations, so thank you for being here
Yvette
on
Rice,
this.
Sheriff's Office. What can I answer for you today?
I know I just want to make sure, like I mentioned to you, that we, clarified and had some discussions on it.
Okay.
With this agreement with the Forest Service, there is $18,000 for patrol purposes and $5,000 for equipment purposes.
Yes.
And as I read down through it, one of the concerns I had, which I voiced to you, I know it's a pot of money that is just used, but even with it being a pot of money, it designates that $56 an hour is the rate.
Yes.
with zero mileage and zero per diem or anything of that nature?
The $56 is kind of an arbitrary rate. In my conversations with the Forest Service previously last year, specifically I requested that they update that verbiage because we don't charge a $56 an hour rate. We charge based on the actual deputies that are participating, so their actual wages and benefits. It's a reimbursed type of billing. But the way their grants work, they have to have an hourly rate listed. So we felt, excuse me, we felt that $56 an hour would be a more reasonable rate to request, but again, it's completely arbitrary because that's not how our billing works. It's based on the actual wages and benefits of the deputies that participate in the patrolling activities within these canyon areas.
Okay, because when I saw that, I automatically went to, we charge $67 for
Right, for our supplemental
for a
agreements.
supplemental
yes.
agreement, so I was
Yes.
wondering why it wasn't 67 instead of
I understand.
56.
Yeah, I understand the confusion, and what I requested is that that they actually place verbiage that was more along the lines of true and actual wages and benefits, but for whatever reason, the way their grants work, they required a specific hourly rate to be listed.
Okay. All right, that was more along my lines. And then also with the equipment, if they're paying for the equipment, is this equipment that they need specifically for Canyon Patrol, or is this in general for, I mean, the officers need to have this equipment anyway?
So the equipment that's been requested, with the exception of the throw bags, we've requested for the entire division for the purpose of water rescue. So like river rescue, as you know, we had a lot of snowfall this year. The concern is that we're going to have very high rivers. We've had discussions with the Forest Service about that. They have equipped their Forest Service personnel with the same type of equipment. We felt it was advisable to make that request. They were amenable to that. The other equipment listed will be assigned to the deputies who are on our recreation enforcement team. They are primarily responsible for law enforcement within our recreation areas, so canyons, BLM lands out west, even on Utah Lake. It's specifically for cold weather environment as well as ATV environment. They go into the backwoods areas, very isolated areas, and so the extra protection is just what they would use as part of their normal patrolling duties. But it's only for the recreation team that we made that request, not for the entire division.
Okay, so it's probably anticipated that, I mean, during a budgeting process, you equip appropriately, and this is a little bit of an offset.
Actually, no, we have not purchased this equipment.
Okay,
We did make some purchases similar to this last year, but that was because, again, we made a request that part of the bucket of allocation be shifted toward equipment purchase. So when they approved that last year in the agreement, we did make some similar purchases. The recreation team has changed. We've got some new personnel on that team, and we actually didn't have some people in place last year because of shortages in the division. So we made a similar request to make sure that all the remaining team was outfitted this year. But
Okay.
no, we have not purchased this up front.
okay. Very good. Those are the questions I have.
And the $23,000 was anticipated as a revenue. This has been an ongoing agreement with the Forest Service. So if you look in our 248 account, you'll see that that money is listed there.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I move that we approve item number 11.
Okay.
And a motion and a second to approve agenda item number 11. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that passes 3-0. That brings us to number 13, which is to approve and authorize Commission Chair to sign and execute an agreement with Election Systems.
Good morning. I'm Roseanne Mitchell with the Clerk Auditor's Office, the Elections Division, and we are in need of a new voting system in order to serve the needs of the voters of Utah County, and we do not have money in our budget for a voting system. So we are coming before you and we are requesting that you sign this contract, which really we're using some state grant money that's available to us, but we need to use a line item that the county has for grants to pay for that, and then we will get reimbursed by the state, and because it will be funded using that state grant money, since we are lacking in the funds in our budget to provide a system. ES&S, Election Systems and Software, was awarded the state contract in 2017, and currently 24 of the 29 counties in Utah are using that voting system, with 2 more, us and 1 other county, coming on board in the next couple of months. And but we just need to make sure that we can use those grant funds to acquire the equipment, since there isn't any funds available in our budget.
Okay. And as I understand it, there are
Please enjoy this
two
Verizon
pieces of
ringback tone
equipment
while your
that are
party is reached.
particular to this funding. And that the grant funding on this doesn't quite cover all of it.
Correct.
So there's a portion of it that would have to be pulled out of for another area.
Correct. So we figured that right now is what we need to do is make sure that we're looking ahead and planning on enough voting equipment to accommodate our needs in 2020, a presidential election. So we're trying to get all of that equipment up front, and right now we have about $760,000 available to Utah County as part of this grant money, and there is some additional money in capital projects that's been set aside and allocated for the 2020 election. And because a good portion of some of what we are getting would help us in 2020, that's why we would look to utilize that money.
Yeah. So that amount that we put aside, which was just kind of a tag number that we put aside, would be reduced by the amount that would make up the difference for this.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Or?
No questions for me?
Oh. We lost Commissioner Ivy. Okay, so for moving the meeting along, I will suspend the rules so that I can second.
Okay.
Motion be in order.
Move that we approve item number 11, or sorry, number 13.
Now I'll second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Commissioner Ivy was on the phone, but we can't reach him. Okay, with that, on our closed meetings, it looks like we only need 16 and 17.
Please enjoy this Verizon ringback tone while you're...
Let's see, that's the normal personnel.
Do we, on lease, do we need to talk at all about lease? I know we're in some negotiations, Richard. Do we need to talk about lease at all? Okay. Okay, very good.
Okay, I move that we, first I move that we strike items 14 and 15.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0.
Now I move that we approve items 16 and 17 for closed meetings to be held on today's date after this meeting
At this location.
at this location.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. We have no work sessions. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll move into our closed meetings. Thank you.